Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're finally going to use hard, undeniable data to settle the group chat debate that's literally been ruining friendships for, 15 years now? We're talking, of course, about Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. So is the debate finally over in 2026? Let's dive right into this and look at the cold, hard numbers to separate historical legacy from the brutal statistical reality of where we're at today. For over a decade, this whole argument has relied so heavily on the eye test, on club loyalties, and just purely subjective opinions. But today, we're stripping all of that away to look squarely at what the analytics tell us about these two legends right now.
But first, to really understand the magnitude of this rivalry, we have to recognize that these guys haven't just scored goals. They have fueled a multi-billion-dollar European football ecosystem over the last 2 decades. Just consider the explosion in the total accumulated value of the major European leagues, up to over 23.5 billion euros. Football is a massive global business, and Messi and Ronaldo have been the absolute centerpieces, driving these broadcast deals, building massive global fan bases, and pumping up astronomical transfer valuations.
And speaking of those valuations, player market values are built on very specific, measurable factors. It's not just about who kicks the ball the hardest, right? According to market data, the absolutely crucial elements include age, performance at both the club and national level, marketing prestige, and development potential, which brings us directly to our two aging heavyweights. Now, obviously, they max out on marketing value, but how are their ages and actual on-pitch performances holding up today?
Well, let's step into the ring. Round 1, the 2025-2026 season stats.
Honestly, it's genuinely fascinating and frankly pretty mind-blowing that a 39-year-old and a 41-year-old are still lacing up their boots to outscore entire teams. Check out this workload. At 39, Messi has played 23 games this season across his club and the national team. Meanwhile, a 41-year-old Cristiano Ronaldo has somehow powered through a staggering 48 games. The physical longevity here just completely defies traditional sports science.
But what the data reveals here is a growing creative gap between the two. When we look at their total goal contributions, so that's goals plus assists, Messi is dropping a goal or assist every 65 minutes he's on the pitch. Ronaldo, while he is still scoring at an incredible clip, takes a full half hour longer, contributing a goal or assist every 95 minutes. So the data is really starting to show a divergence in their overall offensive efficiency.
All right, moving on to round 2, the 2026 World Cup yin and yang. Let's see how they perform on the biggest stage. To see a truly brutal statistical contrast, we just need to compare their opening matches of the tournament. This is the absolute definition of yin and yang. Check out the stats side by side. Messi drops a hat-trick masterclass against Algeria, landing 4 shots on target and just totally dominating the flow of the game with 57 touches. On the flip side, Ronaldo completely struggled to make an offensive impact against DR Congo. 0 goals, 0 shots on target, and a surprisingly low 25 touches. In fact, that's his lowest touch count in a major tournament game for Portugal when playing the full 90 minutes. Wild, right? So the crucial point here is spatial awareness. How do you actually get involved in the game? By finding the right spaces. Messi positioned himself perfectly in his opening match, recording a massive 50% receive success rate. That literally means that when his teammates tried to pass him in the attacking third, he was in an optimal position to receive the ball half the time.
And immediately contrasting that, Ronaldo managed a significantly lower 21.3% success rate against DR Congo, struggling to even get on the end of a pass. He was actively having a much harder time finding those vacant pockets of space on the field that are just absolutely required to link up play.
And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer absurdity of their creative output gap right now. So a line break is a pass that pierces the opposition's defensive structure. It's the ultimate antidote to teams that just sit back and defend deep. While Messi split the defense 15 times against Algeria, Ronaldo, he managed to attempt exactly 1 line break. 1. Even Portugal's Rafael Leao had 3 attempts and he only came on in the 71st minute.
Furthermore, when it comes to actually moving the ball forward towards the goal, Messi carried it 125.9 meters. Ronaldo recorded just 27.3 meters of progressive carrying distance. So Messi is actively driving the ball forward and bypassing opponents nearly 5 times more than Ronaldo. Now, I know what you're thinking. Ronaldo's defenders are going to point to an impressive number to counter this, 8.39 kilometers, as the total distance Ronaldo ran during his game, which heavily beats out Messi's 6.81 kilometers. At first glance, you might think, okay, Ronaldo was clearly working significantly harder out there. But wait for the analytical punchline, because we tracked the speed of those runs to get the full picture. Only 13.4% of Ronaldo's running was at a high intensity, meaning 15 kilometers per hour or faster. A massive 86.6% majority of his movement was literally just at a jogging or walking pace.
Conversely, let's look at Messi. While he definitely ran less distance overall, he spent 27% of his movement at high intensity. That is exactly double the percentage of Ronaldo. What the data tells us is that Messi basically remains dormant for spells, purposely conserving his energy so he can make explosive, decisive interventions when it actually matters.
This lack of spatial awareness and constant, ineffective jogging really brings to mind an absolutely brutal assessment from football legend Thierry Henry. As the stats showed, there were moments where Ronaldo's positioning actively hindered his teammates from getting clear shots, raising some pretty serious questions about whether his presence on the field is actually optimizing his team's attack.
Okay, round 3, the Golden Boot race. Let's see how all this builds up.
Let's look at the correct 2026 World Cup Golden Boot standings, the absolute ultimate prize for a striker. Right now, heading deep into the tournament, Messi is sitting pretty at the top of the mountain, tied with Kylian Mbappe at 7 goals. Not to mention, Messi has extended his all-time World Cup scoring record to 20 goals and is literally the first player ever to score in 8 consecutive World Cup matches. Meanwhile, Ronaldo is lagging far behind the leading pack with only 3 goals to his name.
So, after seeing the hard data from their current seasons and these sharply contrasting World Cup campaigns, the numbers paint a very clear picture of their relative impact today. I have to leave you with this provocative question to fight over in the comments. If you judge solely by 2026 reality rather than historical legacy, who is the true GOAT? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the data.